What's up, YouTube? It's Josh coming at you. And I was going through my game collection, moving some stuff around, and I thought it would be really cool to do a video on some of the games that I have in my collection that I thought had some really cool box art. So I figured, what the hell, let me pull a bunch of them out and we'll see. Because after all, we all know that John Elway's quarterback had the best box art of all time, right? Stay tuned.
Skull, 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 skull.
So I think when it comes to game box art, everyone probably has their own opinions about what are the best. And even the ones that I'm about to show you, I'm not going to say that they are the best box art of all time or put them in any kind of ranking. They're just games that I thought were pretty cool and that had some really neat box art to them. So before we get started though, today we have the Lucky 7 Porter from Evolution Brewing Company. It's a very good porter. It tastes kind of like chocolate, coffee, something like that a little bit. It's got hints of that stuff. If you want to get all technical and fancy, I could read off of their website. It tells me that it's a 5.8% alcohol by volume and that it is a black garnet highlights. This porter is rich and full flavored with notes of chocolate, coffee, and smoke, playing off sweeter toffee and dark dried fruit tones. I don't get any fruit tones out of it, but it does definitely have a coffee taste to it. Very good. That is the Lucky 7 Porter, and it is brewed by Evolution Brewing Company, and they are out of Salisbury, Maryland. So let's jump right in with these games that I thought had some pretty cool box art. I kind of ranked them a little bit in what I thought was like some of the cooler ones I've saved for later, but they're all pretty neat, or I wouldn't have pulled them out to show them to you guys. I basically got 20 games here, 22 games really, but 20 of them because two sets of them kind of go together. So the first one I pulled out was Stinger. I thought that was pretty cool looking. It's got that very cartoony look to it with the little ships with the boxing gloves on them. It's a pretty cool little game. It's a little shooter. The second one I pulled out, my Nintendo Selects copy does not do the cover art justice. If I had an original, it wouldn't have all that stuff around the edges of it. But the Super Mario Galaxy 2 cover is a very cool art cover, I think. It's got, of course, it's got Yoshi and Mario on it, the two iconic characters, but it just kind of incorporates everything about the game. The cover art alone is kind of like gives you like the energy that the game is going to convey when you start playing it. Very cool. The next game I picked was Athena for the NES. I just thought the cover art was cool. You got the goddess here with her sword above her head, and you've got the centaurs and all this stuff from the Greek mythology and the Medusa in the background. Not the coolest game, but the cover art was pretty badass. The next game is totally badass because it's video games and it's metal. Brutal Legend. I mean, you can't get any better than that. Heavy metal, killing demons, awesome. Another NES game on the list here. I got Bionic Commando. When you're a kid and you're looking at a cover like this, you hope for that you get a game that is as good looking as the cover is, because that just screams at you, this is going to be an awesome game. This spy flying through the air on his grappling hook, shooting at the bad guys. Awesome game. Next one I got for you guys is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, The Legend of Zelda has a ton of different cool box art. I mean, some of them don't have much of anything on them, just like Link to the Past just had the shield and the sword and the Legend of Zelda, and that's all it really needed. But this one was pretty cool, I thought. It's got Link raising the sword above his head. He's got the Zelda in the background. Pretty cool. Here's a game that I just recently picked up. I thought it had some really badass box art on it. It is Street Fighter Tekken. I mean, that's just cool. I always liked to draw as a kid, but never could draw that good. I just thought that was neat. Very cool box art. Another classic game. The game is inside the case, but Ghosts and Goblins. I think the cartoony look of the cover kind of is a fake out for you when you actually start playing it and realize how freaking hard this game is. But definitely some cool box art from back in the 80s. Another Nintendo game from back in the 80s that has got some badass box art, Contra. I mean, what screams 80s more at you? The Arnold and the Stallone clones that are on the front with the alien in the background. I mean, that just looks badass. If you're a kid and you're looking for a game to play back in those days and you saw that, definitely be on your radar. The next game is a comic book game, and I just thought, I love comic books too. I haven't collected them in years, but I do have a pretty large collection of them from back in the 80s and the 90s when I was a kid. Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction. I mean, that's just a badass looking cover right there. Very cool. The next set of games is actually two games from the same series, but they have similar art style, both covers do, and I just thought it was cool as crap. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. I think the Metal Gear Solid has some badass box art all the way through the whole series, but I just thought these were really neat. They just have some really badass box art, and I'm not sure who the artist is that does it. I'm sure it's got to be somebody famous that does it. Maybe I'll pop it up here on the screen to show you guys when I edit the video. But that's just pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? Just the way that they blended the colors. It's not a lot going on in it, but there is when you really start looking at the pictures on it. Very cool. Next game is actually the game I'm currently working on right now. I got to be close to finished it, but it's the Outer Worlds. It's a pretty cool box art right here. I like it a lot, and actually, until you play the game, you don't realize like how many elements from the game are actually in the box art. So I mean, with the guy here and the pod, and if you look at the guy under and then the other people in the background and the aliens and stuff like that. This is a pretty neat game by Obsidian. The guys that wrote and created this game were originally the guys that did the original set of Fallout games. And you could tell when you play this game, I'm a big Fallout fan. I love Fallout. And this right here is as close as it gets to Fallout without being Fallout. The next game is one that's on my list that I need to get done this year. It's Okami. I mean, that's just some cool, like, I don't know I guess you call it cell shaded art. I'm not an artist, or I don't know all the proper terms for it, but the art style of this game is fantastic, and it's conveyed perfectly here in the cover of the game. The next game is also another set of games. It's actually the game and the expansion pack for the game from back in the day for Dragon Age. It's Dragon Age Origins, and the Awakenings was the expansion. But the white background with the blood-splattered dragon and mutant spider looking thing, it's just a cool looking box art right there. I mean, that just screams RPG at you. Here's another game that I haven't played yet, but I picked it up. I think I picked it up thrifting a while back, and it just has a cool ass cover. It's Saints Row: Get Out of Hell. I mean, look at the cover on that thing, man. He's got his wings flying up with his Uzis firing off at the demons down below and Satan right below him trying to grab him. The next game is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, Grand Theft Auto, pretty much all of the games in the series have had the same, like, you know, sectioned off, like, type style of art on it. This one stands out more than most of them, I think, personally, because with the neon of the Vice City and everything that's on it, it just screams 80s at you. You know, it just screams retro. And this is a cool ass game if you've never played it. And I know not everybody loves the Grand Theft Auto games. I personally love them. I've beat quite a few of them. Just like playing them, fucking around in them. A couple more games here before I'm done. Old NES game, Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. I mean, That's just some badass artwork right there. Just the coolest part about these old games, and Atari was notorious for it, was they would put some outrageously cool looking box art, but then you'd get the game and be like, oh shit, you know, because it was Atari, you know, it wasn't that good at the time. And even Nintendo, some games are better than others, but you'll get a box art like this and you'll play the game and it's not, you know, the box art was just made back in those days to entice people to buy the game, but they had some badass box art. I think the old box art sometimes is better than the new stuff that you see out here. The next game is Dragon Warrior. I mean, you can't ever go wrong with a cover like that. There's a dragon, there's a warrior. It's a badass dragon breathing fire down on the warrior. I mean, come on. I do not have the other Dragon Warrior games for the NES. I'm sure that they probably have some badass box art on them too. The last two games I got to show you guys that I thought were pretty cool. Now this game, it's not a very great game. It's an okay game. Magmax. But look at the box art on that. I mean, you got a freaking robot out in outer space with a lightsaber battling a three-headed heavy metal dragon. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. The last one that I would have probably put Magmax last because I just think that's such a cool cover art there. But the last one I picked, I thought was very good too. So it was kind of a toss-up. But Red Dead Redemption 2, I mean, that just screams everything you would ever think of when it comes to a Western right there. You know, the gun in your face, outlaw, the band of outlaws on the run. Badass box art for a kick-ass game. That's all I got this time for you guys. Like I said, Lucky 7 Porter. It's a delicious porter. I would love to see you guys, some of you guys, go through your collection, pick out some games. I was originally going to start off with actually like 5 games, and then when I started pulling games out, there was just so many. There's probably even more of them still that could go on a list of really cool box art. Heck, you could probably even do a video on terrible box art because there's plenty of those out there too. But I would love to see you guys post up some videos. If you guys see this, it'd be something interesting that you guys could do when you're going through your collection, pull some games out and show us this cool box art. So hope you guys liked the video. Leave me some comments down below. Like, subscribe. Love talking to you guys. Take care. Cheers. Badass box art. Badass dragon. I have some badass. Badass box art. Badass dragon.